I want to welcome everybody to the On the Map podcast. This show is to highlight high school athletes and also give these young athletes a platform to tell their stories as they pursue their dream in life. No matter what the dream is, remember, this is only the beginning. As you can see, today's guest is not a high school athlete, but we do have a high school coach. We will get into who this man is right now. Right now, I'm your host, Coach Paul. That handsome young fellow over there is my co-host, Jay. And today's guest, ladies and gentlemen, is the head coach of Hawkins High School, located in South Central Los Angeles, California. Welcome to the show, Coach Ronald Coltress.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, thank you for being here. Coach, before we get started, we just want to thank you because we know off season, we talked before the show, you're also coaching track and you're getting that stuff situated. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to sit down and talk with us.
No worries, no worries.
Welcome to the show, Coach. Like Coach Paul said, we'd like to thank you for making the time for us on this Monday evening. So let's get straight into it. You took over the reins of a program that had an eligibility issue, I want to say 9 years ago. Yeah, 9 years ago. That caused the team to forfeit all of its 13 wins that year. For some coaches, a job opening like that is kind of a red flag. What went into the decision to apply for that position rather than apply for another position that didn't have any eligibility issues?
Okay. Just for clarification, I actually didn't take over right afterwards.
20.
Yeah, I took over 17-18.
Okay.
But no, I joined in 17-18. There was another coach there at the time.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I flew just back to LA at the time, got hired as a PE teacher at Hawkins, and there was another coach there. And he asked me to come on staff with him. At the end of the season, he was let go. And then the AD came to me and said, hey, I told him I want you as the next head coach. And my response was, no. I was only coaching for 3 or 4 years at the time, so I didn't think I was ready to be a head coach. But he said, but I've seen you here. I know your plan and your vision, so I want you to be the next head coach. And so I've been there ever since that point. But there was a little stopgap between me and the previous regime.
Okay. What went into the decision once he approached you and he told you, like, you know what, I see your vision, I see your dream, like knowing, because from what I read the Sports Illustrated, no, it was an LA Times article with Shoddy, right? You didn't know what you were walking into.
No clue.
So once you get hit with that, you're there, and then they present you with this opportunity. What goes through your mind at that time that doesn't make you run from, like, you could have got other opportunities. Like, you're a damn good coach. Could have gone somewhere else. What made you stay there?
Exactly.
I first talked to my wife.
Okay.
And both of my kids were really young at the time. Kindergarten, first grade for my daughter, and my son was like in second, third grade.
Okay.
I grew up in the South. And I just remember, like, when you play ball, you just play ball. Like, you just love it. And I love football. And we had just left Florida, where I coached at a middle school there, and it was like a really high-end program, even though it was middle school.
Yeah.
Well, this is an opportunity I don't think I'm going to get anytime soon, and I want to take a shot at it. So I just, like, she said, go for it. I said, okay, and it just kind of happened to work out, honestly.
Okay. Now, as the head coach, like, how do you navigate the stigma? Because, like, we know going forward, there's going to be a high school in LA that when you say their name, it's the scandal, right? Automatically from 2016, like, how did you learn how to navigate, because you had that?
Like I said, I didn't really know that much about it. The longer I was there, the more I learned.
Okay.
Then as I went to, like, football meetings or AD meetings or anything like that, every time something came up, it was always like Hawkins, but like on a side comment. And I'm like,
okay,
that's like a sneak diss. Oh, they're talking about us. And it was like, you have to understand, they're not there anymore.
right?
We're a whole different coaching staff. Like, I wasn't in the state. My DC, who's been with me the whole time, he wasn't even in the state. He came from Georgia when I got hired. He came from Georgia to come coach here in LA. So it was really hard just getting people to understand we're not them. And they did a great job while they were there. They did it the wrong way. We're not them. We preach doing it the right way at all costs.
Before Jay gets into his next, like, question, this is kind of piggyback it. Do you think going through those sanctions in 2016 has affected your program, like, to this day? You think it still has, like, a long-lasting effect?
100%. Because the school was brand new, pretty much.
Okay.
And it won right away. And then all you heard was they cheated, and it was like everybody was gone. So to this day, the legacy we have is of cheating.
Yeah.
And so if you're a high school kid, honestly, and you're a good athlete, you're going to go to a better program with a better name. You can go to Crenshaw, you can go to Dorsey, Washington Prep, you can go to one of the other schools. If you
Yeah,
have the opportunity to leave, you're not going to come to Hawkins because we don't have the name cachet that other schools have.
I get it. Okay, I understand. Thanks, Coach.
Man, that's a great perspective. Honestly, even when I was playing, which wasn't that long ago, I was playing, I'm class of 22, so I was playing in 2021. I had heard kind of just the noise around like what happened with Hawkins, and as I gotten older and gotten more into like city section football, I've always kind of wondered that exact question what Coach Paul asked you. So not really a question, more of a comment, kind of just thanking you for the insight because that was one of the things I always wondered. So my next question for you is, and I asked this because you've dealt with it. As we know, as Coach Paul mentioned, there's a school in the Marine League who's going through its own issues for its own reasons. As a veteran coach, what advice can you give any coach thinking about taking over a program that's going through some sanctions?
Do it the right way. They can't argue when you do it the right way. I know it happened to them a couple of years ago, and what happened to them reached out and said, "Hey, let's play a game." And I know we're not on the same level. We played them, we won. Next year, they won.
Mm,
Do it the right way because eventually you'll come back because you have that name, you have that legitimacy, and the kids will keep coming. So you don't have to do it the other way, is why I look at it. Just focus on the right thing. I will say this. I had a student, like after I took over, who left and came back and he was trying to get eligible and he wasn't. And he looked at me and said, "Coach, just let me play." I said, "We can't do that. How can I tell you I'm going to let you play? I'm going to let you slide on this one,
yeah,
but I'm always preaching to you, do the right thing."
right.
He said, "But nobody will know." I said, "But I'll know, and you'll know I know, and it'll never be
Hmm.
the same again."
Yeah,
So that's what I teach my kids. Like, we got to go on the right foot always.
yeah. How frustrating is it for you as a head coach? Like, because you've dealt with the aftermath. How frustrating as a coach, like dealing with the aftermath of something like that, to watch another program go through it, and you're just like, dude, like we're supposed to be here helping these kids and setting the precedents, and yet we're not only screwing over the kids, we're screwing over another city school.
I think of that sometimes, and as a coach, I hope, and it's weird, I hope it's not the coach. I hope it's maybe
Yeah.
somebody else
Okay.
making bad decisions.
All right.
If it is the coach, I'm like, to what end? I guess my question: what is your ultimate goal? Like, are you trying to get to college? Are you trying to get to a better high school job? Like,
Okay.
what's the goal? And is this getting you to that goal? I don't know. For me, a lot of it's integrity. Like, for me,
Yeah.
I'm always going to hold that line
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm trying to make my kids, my students, better citizens of the community. So I can't tell you to do something wrong and then say, go be a better citizen of the community. How does that work? It doesn't work
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. I get it. Totally get it.
Coach, my next question for you is one I'm really interested in. From what we heard, me and Coach Paul, this is kind of a consensus feeling, just with every kind of coach we talk about. How do you deal with the struggle of engagement?
Engagement of the athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
like
this.
participation, just the
Yeah.
sheer numbers of kids who are willing to join the football team.
We average about 30 kids a year in our program.
Mm,
We graduate about 15 kids every year.
okay.
So we're flipping 15 kids every year. Our core is about 10 to 12 kids every year. We're flipping 15. And of those 15, about 8 have never played football at all. So it's tough to get the kids to come to the program, especially on our end. And the thing we struggle with as a program is like bigger kids. I
Yeah.
get quick kids, I
Mm,
get the strong kids, but I won't get the linemen, right? And that's
Yeah.
where we realize we struggle. It's like getting linemen on campus, getting linemen to play. That's how we lack competition.
Yeah.
We don't compete with other teams because we're not big enough.
Yeah.
We understand that, so we scheme around it. Like I said, it's going to other schools. Like if I can go to some other school that's better, or perceived to be better, or I'm told is better, that's how I lose my kids. Yeah, we build them up and then they go somewhere else because they're told, "You come here, we'll get you a scholarship. You come here, you get more play time." And we're like, I mean, it's possible,
Yeah.
but you can do the same thing there you're doing here. And we bring
Exactly.
Yeah.
I tell certain kids in certain situations, like look at it as a whole. If you're not even the number one guy here, and say you are, let's just say you are, right? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But hypothetically, you're not the number one guy here. You think you're going to be the number one guy somewhere else?
Yeah.
And if you are the number one guy here, are you better than the guy that you know is the number one guy at that school?
Yeah.
Because if you're not, you're transferring to sit your butt on the bench.
Yep.
And compete or fight for some playing time. Why not just take advantage of the opportunity you have right in front of you? Just be better than everybody else that's behind you right now, and then be better than the guy that's going to be in front of you on Friday.
Yeah.
So I get it, Coach. I get it. I totally get it. Hey, so as I was deep diving into your program, right, the one thing that stood out to me was you have two juniors that are heading into their senior year. You have Jeremiah Wallace and Desm Murphy, right?
Yep.
Can you talk about how impactful both these young men will be for not only your team next season, but as leaders of their team?
Okay, so both of them have been with the program for a couple of years. Jay, he's a quiet leader.
Oh, okay.
He shows up every
Nice.
day. He doesn't complain. But when you look at him, you've seen the body transformation. You've seen the buy-in. And just like every other kid, they've talked to him about transferring. Like people have reached out to him about transferring to other schools because he is our number one receiver. Like, come play here your senior year. And he's one of the kids who's bought into what we said. Right?
Yeah.
Everything we ever asked him to do, he's done. Right? He sat his sophomore year. He played his junior year. He's waited his turn. And he just wants the ball. And he just wants the kids around him to buy into that. Desmaj, he plays basketball. He plays football. And when he gets the ball in his hand, he's dynamic. And we play quarterback. He's like, no, I just want to be a receiver.
Yeah.
Of course.
And now he's like, okay, maybe I'll play a little quarterback.
Yeah.
It's like he's getting the buy-in. And so having those two coming back next year, it just keeps us elevated. It just keeps us elevated. It keeps the people around them engaged. Because if they left, we lose, I say, eight guys right off them two leaving.
Yeah, I watched some film. We all exchanged film, so I got one of your games last year, and man, those two kids immediately stand out on film. Like, they are electrifying to watch, and you have two gems, Coach, and I'm proud and I'm happy that they bought into your program, and I can't wait to see what these young men do next year underneath your mentorship and your leadership as well, Coach.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we're looking forward to having him out there. And right now, honestly, we just get him to go out there. We told him to go to camps this summer.
Yes.
We told him to go to Rivals this past week.
That's right.
Try to get him to go through a couple of junior days. They want to play ball, so let's get you out there. So
that's right.
That's our goal.
Amen to that.
Nice. I love that answer. I love finding gems in the city that stay to their own school and just put their head down and work. My next question for you, Coach, is you guys were previously in the Coliseum League, and now you're going on your second year in the Metro League.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what's the biggest difference between those two leagues?
The level of competition is one, to be quite honest, and respect is another one.
All right.
I feel like the Metro gets no respect, even though Jordan won the title 2 years ago.
Yes.
Right? But no respect. It's like you didn't play anybody. So we realized that we have to enhance our preseason schedule to get noticed.
Okay.
The Coliseum League, you can lose every game and still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think it's the perceived respect level and level of competition. Nothing against the guys in the Coliseum. They're monsters. I played them for a long time. They're monsters. We had a tough time in that league. We're now more competitive in the Metro.
Yeah.
Just them thinking that it's not a good enough league to get you into the playoffs.
Right. Like, as I came into the city and I got used to the new playoff format, because I stepped away from the game for a while, I didn't know that I'm used to you better come in third in your league because it better be third to get an at-large bid. That's what I'm accustomed to, right? 1-2 go. If you're third, you're lucky. If you get an at-large, maybe. So I learned the way of the rankings and how teams are played and stuff like that. So what's your plan? Like, now that you got it, you got the code. What are the steps that you want to take in order to maybe increase the level of competitiveness in your preseason?
It's scheduling. It's
Okay.
early scheduling for us. It's like we're trying to reach out to people, and when we're pretty solidified on our schedule as of right now.
Okay.
It's
Nice.
making the schedule competitive and balanced, and you still have a chance to win. Like I can't go out there and schedule Bosco, Mater Dei, Birmingham.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
It
But
doesn't.
I can't schedule teams who have played in the playoffs last year,
Yeah.
who have winning records, winning tradition, and we look at our end ranking and like max prep and all stuff. We look at that.
Mhm.
And anybody we approach to playing us in preseason, are they above us? If they're above us, okay, then how far above us are they? Will it help us? Are they below us? How far below? If it's too far below, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
Count us out the hard way. So we
Yeah.
try to find competitive matchups, because you don't want to lose kids after 60-0 loss 2 years. You don't want to do that. We just find competitive matchups. Yeah.
Right. So, because I was going to ask, because I brought up the reason that the fact that I was Southern Section in the third team, because now based off your strength of schedule, you could go 1-3 and make the playoffs, and your kids could literally click at the right time due to the amount of competitive games they've had and make a deep run into the playoffs. Is that something that your kids are well aware of as well? Like, look, we're going to bite off some of this pie because we want to see what we can do. If we take a loss, I'm not saying losing is okay, but this is what I'm setting you up for.
I hope so. I've seen in the past where there's one too many losses for them. And it's like, we can't get over that hump. Because we've been at the consistent level for a couple of years.
Yes.
And I don't know if they understand it. And in part because they don't play a lot of football as a whole group, you know.
Yeah.
You got 12 guys who play for 2 or 3 years, but you got 10 guys who've never played before. And I'm 4-6, and that's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes they miss that little nugget right there.
Yeah. So I've been told that you are the king of recruiting on campus, that you find the most hidden athletic kids in your PE class. Can you tell the viewers and the listeners about how you found a couple hidden gems in your own PE class?
It's just looking at them every day. I'll say this: when I took over the program, I had a kid come up to me, and he said, "I want to play football." And he was like one of the biggest kids we'd ever seen on campus. And he was in my PE class. I wasn't head coach; I was just there. And I'm like, "Why don't you play for the other group?" And he said, "Well, I had to go pick up my sisters after school. My mom works. I couldn't be here all the time. They told me that they weren't going to deal with me." I said, "Well, we're going to deal with you."
That's right.
Then I had another kid, and he was tiny. He was tiny. He was quick. And I said, "Play football." He's like, "They told me I was too small." I said, "Not too small for us." And he played quarterback for us. He played with the most heart I've seen a kid play with, you know. So we just look for the kids who want to be here.
Yeah.
We have no ego about it, you know, because those kids will play. There's some kids you look at because you're athletic, you know nothing about football. Let us teach you about football.
That's right.
My quarterback who's graduating this year, he's going to go play at Southwest. When I saw him as a freshman, I said, "Come play football." He goes, "No, I box." "Okay, you can still box and play football." "No, I'm good." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't push. I just waited. At the end of the freshman year, it's like, "I want to play football." Like, when will you be? "I want to be a quarterback." "You ever played before?" "Nope." I said, "Are you going to work?" He's like, "I'm going to work." He worked.
That's
And
right.
he had a funky throw. We fixed that for the most part. And he just kept working and kept working and kept working. And eventually, he's like, "Okay, we can win with you." So
That's right.
you got to keep your eyes open and give everybody a chance.
That's right. That's right. We've heard too many stories about kids getting overlooked, Coach. So that's why, like, when I heard that, I was like, yo, I have to highlight that because that's awesome. Because a lot of kids do want to play. And they, like you said, they've been hit with I'm not going to work with your situation.
Yeah.
You're too small. So I wanted to bring that out because I had heard those stories. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay.
So since you've taken over as a head coach, you've had a firm stance on winning isn't everything. With the way things are nowadays, young men can get caught up in just winning. How do you go about getting these young men to buy into it's not all about winning? It's about the process.
living it every day. Let them know the truth. Tell them who you are.
Okay.
I've from day one, I've said we may not win on a scoreboard, but if you're graduating, if you're becoming a better man, a better brother, father, husband in the future, then you've won. And not
Amen.
everybody goes to college to play football, but you can go to college to get a degree or to get
That's
a
right.
certificate or just get a job. I mean, if you can walk out of high school and say, being with you, coach, made me a better person, then we've won. Like that's my job as a coach.
That's
I
right.
love winning. Don't get me wrong. I want to win. I want you to be okay. And that's what I tell them every day. And any kid who's been through the program will say the same thing. I say it all the time, and I don't waver on it. And if you can't buy into that, I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Right.
My high school, we kind of lived by that motto too. I know how hard it was to get kids recruited, after not winning a game last season. Like who wants to join a team that went 0-10, losing 6-0, So that was kind of instilled into my head as a player, winning isn't everything. It's kind of what football does to you, the habits it changes, the good habits you make from football, the discipline you get from football.
Yeah.
So that's something that I definitely 100% agree with Coach Coltress right there.
Hey, so the one thing that like I had to learn is that Southern section is afforded a different amount of, what is it? I want to say strictness of and keeping it old school to by the book, where they're going to have 50 freshmen come out no matter what.
Okay.
They're going to have 60 kids try to be on the JV team and then fill the varsity team, even if your team sucks.
Okay.
My team, my freshman year, my varsity team went 2-8. Well, they went 4-6. My sophomore year, they went 2-8. My junior year, we went 1-9, and then we turned around and went 4-6.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers never wavered. In LA City section, you have years like that. Those kids are gone.
They're leaving.
They're gone. So that really opened up my eyes to like a whole new thing. Coach, like you said, you have 15 kids turnover, but it's due to graduation. Like you still, even dealing with those numbers, you still are able to maintain a 500 record. So going into next season or every season, what is the message to your kids?
We tell them you're next up. Every year,
Nice.
they say the same thing. So-and-so just left. So-and graduated. Who's going to lead the team? You are. You're going to lead the team. And they take a step back. No, we had so-and-so. Yes. And he's gone. Now you're here. Now you can be a senior. So we always tell them, you may not be ready for it, but it's ready for you.
Well, I'm stealing that. I'm sorry, Coach. I'm stealing it. That is awesome. Yeah.
That's great. Coach, you came from Florida. Can you tell us what the atmosphere in Florida is like for football?
So I coached in Florida for 2 years at a middle school. And when I got to LA, and that we got Hawkins, and again, that was after the program was decimated, and they were pulling kids to play. And I remember one time I looked at them and I said, my middle school team will beat you right now. It's so crazy in Florida. Like I coached in Florida, but I grew up in Alabama. So it's so crazy in the South. The kids are playing tackle football like at 6, 7 years old, and they just never stop. And so you get kids in high school who know football. Like they understand it, like better than coaches. They live it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to LA. You have athletes, and they're athletes, but they have so many other things they can do. Go to the beach, go to the mall, go to the concert, they do whatever they want to.
Yeah.
Football is not the priority for a lot of kids.
Right.
And in the city, the priority is survival. So I can't worry about football like that. I got to worry about when it's 6 o'clock and it's dark out, how am I getting home? Because I'm walking through 3 different neighborhoods, 2 different hoods. Am I safe? So there's so many other things they worry about besides football. So that's what I realized is so much different here. Back home, not a problem. Football, they know it. Here, 9th grade, 10th grade, they're learning it for the first time.
Yeah.
We're asking you to be good.
Yeah.
They expect to be really good. I've never played football. I'm a senior. I'm going to be amazing. Like, no, I'm going to put you where you can be beneficial, not amazing.
Yeah. I think I think a lot of, and this is just my perspective on things. I think the high schools that are out here that have really good feeder programs, and when I mean feeder, they're teaching them the offense that the high school is running.
Mm-hmm.
So from the moment these kids learn football, they know what a gap scheme is. They know what a block. They know what they're getting into, and they run the same offense over every year. So by the time they get to high school, it's second nature to these kids. The one thing I learned about the South is they've been doing this forever.
Yeah, the difference is you're talking about a feeder program, a Pop Warner team. In the South, it's called middle school.
Yeah.
You get out of elementary school, you go to middle school, you got middle school ball, which is feeding into that
The high school. Yeah.
So, hey, what you're learning here, you can use 3 years later here. So that's the one thing I think LA, California
Lacks.
could benefit from.
Yeah.
Having that middle school sport program for all sports, football, basketball, doesn't matter. Across the board, sports in middle school would be beneficial to high school and also that student athlete in middle school. It'll still connect them to the program and keep them out of trouble.
Hey, I actually agree with that, because I see a lot of these youth programs, and not all of them are bad, but I see a lot of these youth programs that are just out for the bag. Like, what can I do here to make this? Oh, I'm gonna take all these kids for my team, and it's just kind of like, all right, cool, thanks, because that doesn't benefit anybody. You guys go run Madden playbooks, and you guys have an all-star team. You got an all-star team. Kill everybody in California, go to Vegas and get whomped by some real teams.
Yeah.
I definitely believe California could benefit from that. Who knows? Anything's possible in the future. All right. So my next question for you, Coach, is, what I gather, all 4 coaches that you started with, they're all the same 4 coaches. Are they?
No. Okay, so my defensive coordinator has been there since day one.
Okay.
My offensive coordinator now has been at the school for about 5 years.
Okay.
But he was assistant. So our former OC was with us for several years.
Okay.
Took down last year because of his job. He works for the city. He needed more time. So he stepped back. So the OC took over current, and he'll be back in next year.
Okay.
But for a while there, we were all together for a good 5-6 years, like solid.
Okay, cool. What roles do they have with you? Like, what roles on the team? Because I came to Southgate and I heard the stories about just being 4 coaches deep. Like, what are your guys? Your guys got some expanded roles to help you out? Because
for a while there, we were 3 coaches deep, and then when my new OC came a couple of years, he started volunteering, so we were 4 deep. But it was me, Coach O, who's my DC. He ran the defense. Coach KP ran the offense, the special teams, and I was everywhere else, So we just chopped it up. Like, today we're going to do offense. Tomorrow we're going to do defense. And we kind of mixed it up that way. And then when Coach Brown came, who our new OC, he kind of split in, and we kind of split it 4 ways.
Okay.
Now we're back to 3 coaches. So it's getting offense, defense. And we're just kind of like rotating through. So everybody sees us in every spot, knowing that we can coach any spot.
Right.
So no matter what I say, if Coach O says it or Coach Brown says it, it's the same thing we're saying. So we know kids have their favorites. We get that.
Yeah.
You understand that we all know what we're doing. We all have the same vision. Then we can all coach anywhere.
So how does the preparation go into, like, I know the off season, it's not as tedious and rigorous as the moment season. Like, is everybody doing double duties to help? Like, everybody's all on board? Like, all 4 of you guys will work on something for offense to help each other and then switch it to defense?
So our offense is kind of funny. Like, right now we're in track season. So Coach O, the DC, he's the track coach. He's running track team. So we've got probably like 20 bodies out there running track, all from football. We have weight sessions. Coach Brown, he is like running the weight sessions, and when you see them, they're gaining. They're doubling in size. They're just getting bigger and stronger. I'm making sure they're in classrooms, going to tutoring sessions. We do grade checks every week or every 2 weeks. If you fall behind, I'm emailing your parents. So we all have a different role, but we're all supporting each other in those roles.
Okay.
That's how we do it.
That's perfect. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. You guys are all bought in, and that's something great to see, because the kids can feel when the coaches are bought in and giving their all. So My next question for you, before I ask my last question, so my second to last question, I have to ask this question. What can you tell me about 2019 season double overtime victory over Taft for Hawkins? And the reason I asked that is because this young man was on that team and you broke our hearts, man. Talk to
I,
me about that game a little bit.
I think that year we went 4-7, and we were coming off a terrible year ourselves. Honestly, that was such a solid team for us, but a hard team because a lot of the kids were leftovers who weren't wanted by the last program. They weren't wanted, and so we took them in, and we like got them bought in after 2 or 3 years, troubles, all kind of stuff. We had lost the game early that year because I had to suspend 2 of my star players for fighting in the principal's office, and they thought we were going to let them play anyway. I'm like, no, I told you you're sitting. So now we came to Taft, and I know Taft hadn't won a game yet, and we're like, look, we have to have this game. Because one of the things I want to do is, we're in South Central. A lot of kids don't go outside South Central. So I'm always making sure we play a Valley team every year, just to get them out of the city. Go to the Valley, see what it's like over there. And that game was tough. That game was tough. We
Yeah.
did everything we could, and every time we overcame something else came back, and we fought through it again. And we had a kid who could kick field goals, but we couldn't block for him. So field goal got blocked on our end, and so it was like we just kept going back and forth. But we knew if we hung in long enough, win or lose, we'd be okay. And luckily, we won.
Yeah. You brought up the kick. I was the kicker and punter, so I wasn't out there tackling anything. You guys actually blocked. If I remember correctly, in regulation, I had missed the field goal. It was on target, but it was a few yards short. I don't know how far that was. And then the second one was blocked. It was on the right hash. So I can feel for your
It
kicker
was
and
tough,
your team.
I was happy to do it. The other thing is, like, I like playing in the Valley because I live in the Valley. So, if I can get
Oh,
back
nice.
home early, I'm just gonna ride the bus. I'm gonna go home after this game. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, man. I had asked about that. That was we actually didn't win that game that year, so I could talk about it now. Obviously, I don't
Yeah,
really care about it, but that game,
He was
honestly,
scarred.
looking back, that game kind of broke the team. And I say that
really.
because after that, kids were ruled ineligible for grades.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best linemen we had moved to Tennessee, and then two of our receivers quit. They just quit. Like, oh, we had enough. So looking back, that game kind of tore the team apart.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, good
If
times,
it
good
makes you feel
times.
any better, next time we played Taft, they beat us. They beat us so bad.
Oh,
Oh, I don't think that makes
yeah,
that any
yeah.
better, Coach.
Yeah, I had to ask. So, kind of the last question we have for you before we wrap it up. So, you're entering your ninth year at Hawkins. I know we have a lot of young coaches like Coach Paul looking to possibly advance to the next stage in their career and become a head coach one day. What advice do you have for him and other young coaches that may be looking to become a head coach in the future?
Don't be afraid. Take chances, and remember, it's not all about X's and O's. Some of these kids, because we don't know where they're coming from, what they're going home to. So I have kids every day tell me about their life, their parents, what's happening, what they did wrong. To be honest, I currently have 4, maybe 5 kids who played for me at one point in time, whether a day or week or years, in prison right now, in jail. And I get word from them, from other people, tell coach to say, hey, or what have you. So just remember, like, we're here for the moment, and in that moment, we have to do best for them. That's really it. If you can't do what's best for the kid, you take that job, you're doing them a disservice, and you're gonna hurt yourself in the end because you're not gonna feel good about it. That's how I look at it.
That's some great advice.
That
The last thing I have for him, this is kind of just me giving you my kudos and my flowers to you. You know, head coaches and coaches, especially in the inner city, they are way more than just head coaches. They're therapists. They're role models for some people who don't have, fathers in their life. They go above and beyond for these kids. And, Coach Coltress, you're a perfect example of giving your all to these kids who honestly they probably don't have a lot of chances, and you're kind of that one chance that they do have to become, like you said, a successful man, good husband, great father, and all that. So my kudos to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, Coach, before we let you go this evening, I'm going to give you the floor. If there's any message that you'd like to give to our listeners or our viewers, feel free to give it. Like Jay said, we appreciate you, man. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
If you're a kid and you want to play ball, I'd say just do it. If you're a coach and you're kind of stuck, just reach out, because somebody's been where you've been before, and you don't know if you'll inspire somebody or they'll inspire you. Like I said before, for me, it's just make sure the kids are okay. Like, I have a son who's 15. He played football. When he got in a little bit of trouble, his coach was always calling me, asking me if he could help. I mean, what I do for my kids, I want someone to do for someone else's kids. So as a coach, look out for them like they're your own. As a player, remember that we have feelings too. So when you pop off at us for no reason, we're just going to take it because we're adults, but it hurts. So yeah, that's what I say.
Hey, with that being said, we want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. Shout out to our sponsor, Never Waver Apparel. I'm Coach Paul. The handsome young man over there is my co-host, Jay. And today's guest was Coach Ronald Coltress from Hawkins High School. Thank you for being on here. Everybody else have a blessed night. Peace.
Peace.